like, you know, a pepper spray just in case anything happens. And they were like, no, that's like actually illegal. I don't think that they're allowed to have any kind of weapon. And I was like, what? We literally put them in our keychains as accessories. I was like, how do you defend yourself? They were like, from what? You don't have to. It's so safe. I was like, no way. So I Googled it, and no one is allowed to use greater force than necessary to defend themselves. What? The U.S. can't
Whoa, whoa,
ban
whoa, whoa, whoa,
guns,
whoa,
but
whoa,
Singapore
whoa,
can.
whoa, 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 whoa. We have first time you realize America really messed you up. Part 2. Better go ahead and check this out, man. If y'all are new here, hit that sub button, like the video. Let's get right into it.
And currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
When I was dancing in Australia, I did a jump and landed on the outside of my right foot. I sprained it real bad. And they drove me to a private hospital, and I was like panicking.
Oh. Yeah, I'm scared to death of a private hospital, bro.
But anyway, that's the one that was available to me at the time. And on my way into the lobby, I was, hobbling on my crutches. And they spotted me from the parking lot. The doctor came out to me before I even was in the building and went back into the hospital and told them that I was coming. In the waiting room, they came into the waiting room to examine my foot. And I never paid a penny for that shit.
What?
So I can make like 200 of these, but I'll just
That
talk
would've
about
threw
the
me all
first
the way
time I
off.
realized how fucked up the U.S. is, which was in the first
Yo, I'm about to say what?
week that I got to Sweden, when my boyfriend's family told me that I need to make sure I get insured, and that I get insurance for everything I own, my laptop, my bike, my apartment, my whole body. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. That's so expensive. Like, I'm already super in debt with student loans, so no. But I asked out of curiosity, just like how much it was going to cost. $100 a year to insure everything I have.
That's it?
For reference, like the average American person spends $456 a month just on health insurance. Just for healthcare. That doesn't include
$100 a year
or
on
household
everything?
insurance.
Cars, insurance?
Okay, so I'm not currently living abroad, but I did live in Australia for a few months. And one night while I was there, I got a little bit too crazy, and I ended up on public transportation without a phone, and I had to find my way back to my apartment. And I got lost, and while I got off the tram to get onto a different tram to take me home, a middle-aged gentleman came up to me, and I immediately went into attack mode, and I was like going to kill him. And he was like, no, I was just gonna tell you which tram to take to get back to
Lord.
Preston. And that was when I realized that in Australia, I didn't need to be afraid. Like, granted, take precautions, but I didn't need to be afraid of every man. But in America, I still am.
Ooh, I've been waiting for this one. So at the time, I was living in Germany, and I had gotten food poisoning after traveling back from a country. And I was so sick. I was not eating, not taking anything, and it had been 4 or 5 days. It was really bad. I was too afraid to go to the hospital, one, because I was afraid I couldn't translate, but two, I just didn't want to deal with everything. But my friend said, no, we have to go. So I went. Tell me why we didn't have to wait on an emergency line. I was in the emergency room looking around. I was like, where do I sign in? Where's the line? Where are all the people? And they're like, no, you can go right in. Go sit down. We'll be right with you. And I literally walked straight into the office, straight in. And while I was struggling to explain what was going on, they brought in 5 different doctors of each different one. And it only took them 5 minutes to come each time when they realized they couldn't help me. It was somebody else they needed. And I didn't have to pay anything on top of that.
That's the
I'm
crazy
an American
part.
living abroad in Thailand. We've been living here for a year now. So we literally moved here when the pandemic started. My husband had a business trip right before the country closed to Singapore. He came back from Singapore with a fever. So they transported him to a hospital. That hospital, however, didn't have the facilities for full-on quarantine, and so they transported him using an ambulance to another hospital where he was COVID tested and quarantined. Luckily, he tested negative, but he still spent 2 days in the hospital and was transported by ambulance. And so I was
I'm gonna
thinking
go ahead
the
and tell y'all right now. All those transports, ambulance, expensive in the US. Like nobody wants to get transported by the ambulance. You know you're gonna pay a hefty check. The fact that they was transporting, quarantine, you gotta stay here for 2 days, bruh. She's already expecting this bill to be thousands of dollars. I'm talking thousands of dollars, bro. Because in the US, bro, I don't know how much it is to do a transport with an ambulance, but it costs a lot of money just to get transported by the ambulance. Like I'm talking at least close to 1,000, if not over $1,000, just for the transportation, bruh. You feel me? So I know they thinking this is about to be. Let's
this
hear
was
it.
going to be so expensive. The overall cost of it was less than $300, where back in the States, I know it would have been thousands.
Told you,
It's just incredible to me that healthcare is
bruh.
affordable.
$300.
So from LA and I moved to Singapore. And
less.
before coming here, I asked all my friends if I should bring anything like, a pepper spray just in case anything happens. And they were like, no, that's like actually illegal. I don't think that they're allowed to have any kind of weapon. And I was like, what? We literally put them in our keychains as accessories. I was like, how do you defend yourself? They were like, from what? You don't have to. It's so safe. I was like, no way. So I Googled it, and no one is allowed to use greater force than necessary to defend themselves. What? The US can't ban guns, but Singapore can.
Whoa. Pepper sprays and stun guns, while generally allowed in many foreign countries for self-defense, are banned in Singapore. This is because although self-defense is permitted, Singapore laws does not allow one to use greater force than necessary to defend himself. So all you can do is use use these, bruh. You just gotta use these, bruh. The US can't ban guns, but Singapore can ban pepper spray. Pepper spray, y'all.
Ban pepper sprays?
That's
So I didn't
wild.
realize this until I moved abroad, but Americans have a very strange concept of freedom. Like, when you're growing up, you're always told that America is such an amazing place and, it's the land of the free, home of the brave. But,
Bruh, they told us growing up that the US we have this freedom. I don't know what this freedom is, but we have this freedom, right? So I'm thinking, in my head, growing up, hearing this freedom, every other country must be like total lockdown, slaves or something. I don't know. You feel me? But they drill us in our head that we have freedom. You know what I'm saying? Home of the free, home of the brave, that line. You know what I'm saying? That line. So growing up, yeah, we all thought maybe other countries didn't have freedom. I don't know what type of freedom we're talking about here, but freedom, yeah.
like, I keep hearing these criticisms from people like, oh, yeah, but America has the most freedom. Wow, yeah, freedom. I mean, there may be a few exceptions or nuances, but in the UK, you're still free. Like, that is the biggest lie that Americans are ever told, that there aren't other free places. Like, I don't understand.
Y'all.
And if I'm being perfectly honest, I feel like the concept is kind of destroying American democracy. How ironic. Like, they need to kind of understand that they need to work on things to make themselves better and more free for their citizens.
Hey,
So
facts.
just for a little context,
Ariana
I live
Grande?
in Latvia now, but when this happened to me, I was working in the UK as a bartender. And my coworkers
I
and
can
I
see
were
her as
talking
a
about gun
bartender.
violence in the US, and they were kind of making jokes like, "Oh, I'm surprised you graduated and you didn't get shot first," and stuff like that. And I guess I was trying to defend it, so I was saying, it's not as bad as the news makes it seem. I only know one school.
That sounds like me, bro. That is me to the core, bro. Just trying to defend my country, dog. Just trying to make sure people don't think it's that bad. But, bro, it might be that bad, bro. It really just might be that bad. But I'm like her, bro. I'm really trying to defend, bro. I'm trying to defend, but they let me down every day. Trump, anything that comes out Trump's mouth, it just lets me down every day, bro. Like I can't win. I can't win, y'all.
That had an active shooter and had to go into lockdown. And, for me, I only had one gun threat in high school, and it was just a threat, and one when I was in elementary school.
I've
And then
actually
my
never had this in
coworkers
high
kind
school,
of
though,
looked
by
at
the
me
way.
like, "You what? And you think that's normal?" And I was like, yeah, it's not even that bad.
So I
That's
was in
crazy.
Grenada for a couple of weeks, and every single day between 12 and 2, they would always close down. Everything would just close down. And I was just like, what is going on? And they were like, well, we need to go home and have lunch with our family, you know, just
Really?
enjoy, just relax a little bit. And that was when I realized every other country out here really understands the value of spending
Of
time
life.
with your loved ones and
Facts.
just actually taking a break, except America. America just teaches us to
Work,
work
work.
for labor.
Bro, I'm telling you, even in South Africa, bro, like the whole of December, these people are out here partying, bro. I'm like, we don't have that, bro. Like year round, we're working, bro. There's no such thing as work-life balance in the US. There's no such thing, bro. Like it's constantly work. You got 2, 3 jobs, bro. You're constantly working. There's no such thing as work-life balance, bro. So that's something that threw me off in South Africa. It's just nobody's working in December. Everybody apparently just doesn't have a job and just out here in the streets, bro. So the fact that wherever she is, they doing the 12 to 2, able to go home, be with family, bruh.
Instead of actually living. So
Nice.
don't procrastinate on your happiness, sis. Your worth is not in labor. It's a luxury. Do what you want to do and be happy.
Oh, I've got a couple. So I'm from Los Angeles and I live in Austria. And basically when I first started working here, they were like, you get 25 days vacation, Fridays off early, and if you're sick, don't come into work. And I was just like, I was floored. Because in the US, you only get 10 days vacation and like 5 sick days, and
Depending
you
on
don't get
depending on
Fridays
where
off
you
early.
work,
You
but
better work your ass until
yeah.
it's 9 p.m. On top of all of that, all my friends here have like 2 masters, 3 PhDs, etc., 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 because education here is actually free. Amazing. What an amazing concept. In addition, I have yet to see a large homeless community out in the open here in Austria because the government actually offers some social support. A lot of social support. In LA, you have villages, streets, blocks full of homeless people
Yup.
because our government doesn't care about us.
Yup.
And here, people like don't measure their worth off the car they drive.
Okay, so I live in New York now, but I used to live in England, and one time I was out at this bar with my friends, and these 2 cops walked by. And one of my friends was like, oh, I wonder why there are cops out right now. And I looked at the cops, and I got really confused, and I was like, those are cops? And my friends were like, yeah.
You probably thought that was the
They
military.
don't have guns. And everyone was like, why would they have guns? They were like so aghast at that question. And I was realized in that moment that, and learned that guns, there are so few guns in the UK.
Oh,
It's
he's
such
in the
not-
UK. I thought he was from the UK that went to New York. He's from New York that went to the UK, and he was confused that officers didn't have guns. Yeah, that would throw me off, bro. That would throw me all the way off.
Issue that like the everyday cop does not carry a gun. And I was just, there are houses in America that have seen more guns in them than a fresh vegetable. It blew my fucking mind. I think about it all the time. I hate guns so much.
Bro, my sister has like 3 or 4 guns.
I was living in Italy and my friend needed an ambulance. We weren't going to get an ambulance because of the cost. And then we learned that in Italy, it's free for ambulances. We were literally like, wow, it doesn't have to be thousands of dollars for an ambulance. That is crazy. A human life is in fact more valuable than profit here. It is so sad that we have accepted if you are in a vulnerable health situation, it will cost thousands and thousands of dollars, and many people go into medical debt because of this. Where are our priorities?
Bruh, I'm just blessed that I ain't had to do none of those ambulance runs or do anything like that. I'm not in no type of medical debt, bruh. Because those bills add up quickly, bro. Once your health starts doing stuff in America and you start having to go to the doctor and start staying nights and start doing, bro, those medical bills stack up, bro. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. But look, man, let me know what y'all thoughts are. Hope you guys enjoy my reaction, my commentary. Until next time, y'all.